But when we ask, what's mental health? The answer is it depends who's asking the question. There are three perspectives of mental health. The individual, the community, the society, and the professional. The individual comes for help when they're dissatisfied with something in life, depressed, anxious, or they're incapable of doing something. It's a functional. I can't go on elevators, I feel choked, I can't fly, I can't get a job, I can't this. Okay, that's the individual. Society, and the individual is interested in their own happiness. If they're unhappy, they come for help. If they're stuck. Society requires prediction and control. I want to know that if I say Good Shabbos to you, what do you answer me? Good Shabbos. You say Good Shabbos. If I say Good Shabbos to you and you say flying elephants, I say, oh, this is a strange man. You know, the building of a community, the nucleus of a community, said Rav Yosef there, he says, is when one Jew says to another Shalom Aleichem, and the other one says Shalom Aleichem. We have joined, we share the same values. So a society requires conformity, every society, not just the religious society, every society. If you were in Tel Aviv and you were a young person, you didn't have tattoos, I don't know if you'd be part of the group. It's a norm. So it requires conformity, and there are consequences if you don't conform. So if you, and this is something that's subtle for a therapist to know, it was a crisis when one mother came in telling me that her daughter went from 40 denier stockings down to 25. It was really a crisis. Something was wrong. It was worse when a kippah went from velvet to one of mine. Mm-hmm. They're subtle, but it means you're breaking from the conformity of a group. That's right. Why you need a religious therapist. I tell, and of course the professional perspective, we come from the diagnostic and statistical manual, and we define mental health by that manual. Do I have another few minutes?
We got a couple more. We're almost over time.
A quick story. I once davened. I needed to daven early before I had a meeting, and I went into Brooklyn with my talis and tefillin and went into a shul that I've never been in. Finished davening, and the gabbai comes over to me, and he says, Shalom Aleichem, where are you from, etc., and speaking to me, and then he says, you got to be very careful for the Yetzer Hara. I said, yeah, I know, me and the Yetzer Hara, we've been together. Back, yeah. We know each other. So he said, no joke. He says, yes, he's very sneaky. Yesterday, I was standing by a bus stop and the Yetzer Hara came out from behind the lamppost. It's a good thing I had my umbrella. I chased him away. Okay, I had a diagnosis. Schizophrenia with hallucinations. I was leaving the shul and a few guys were standing around. They introduced themselves. They said, you met Rabbi Yitzchak? I said, yeah, and I was ready for them to tell me, ignore him, he's crazy. Instead, they said, what a tzaddik. Without him, we wouldn't have the shul. He's here all the time taking care of things. So, of the three perspectives, I was the only one who had a problem. Yitzchak didn't have a problem. He carried an umbrella. He chased his Yetzer Hara away. Right. The other guys didn't have a problem. His society thought he was a tzaddik. But I thought he was schizophrenic. No, so I took that home with me and nothing happened. But that's an example of understanding mental health within the community.
Right.
So within one community, there's a pathology that's scary. The girl is now going to half sleeves. And if you go to another community, say, what's wrong with half sleeves? And, or etc. So that's